Joining us now, Republican Congressman Greg Murphy of North Carolina. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Appreciate it. You voted for aid to Ukraine in 2024. After the meeting Monday, there's talk of an Article 5-like security guarantee for Ukraine. Any idea what that might look like and U.S. cooperation or participation?
Well, I think, we're dealing in historic times, Marnie. I was on a plane flight yesterday and I watched the movie Reagan and what he was able to do with Gorbachev and the fall of the Soviet Union. So this is very reminiscent of those times. Trump is doing things that obviously, in my opinion, Biden could have never have done. Is it going to take an American presence there to help solidify and help reassure Europe and Ukraine? I think it will. Does it need to be a military presence? I'm not sure. But the fact that we're able to crack this nut so far and be able to move forward, I think is very, very encouraging for world peace and the Ukrainian people themselves.
It is difficult, though, to hear overnight, even as the talks are being worked out, that more missiles and drone attacks hit Ukraine and there were more lives lost. What does that tell you about Putin's willingness to come to any sort of agreement, even though he says the door may be open?
Yeah, I guess strategically he thinks he can continue the maximum pressure to try to push Ukraine in a direction that he wants. Look, this is from day one when President Trump came in. He had to give Putin a reason to stop, because Putin has no reason. He doesn't care about the millions of his own people that he'll send into a sawmill. He doesn't care about the money that he's losing and being sanctioned. He's working around these things and is prepared for this. Trump is trying to give Putin a reason to put down his swords. In the meanwhile, Putin's not stupid. He's going to continue to put pressure on the Ukrainian people and continue, advancing his military quest.
The United States and President Trump front and center, whether you think he's negotiating or he's more of a mediator in these talks. But the presence of those other European leaders at the White House this week was significant. What's your read on the role that these other nations will play in trying to broker peace?
Well, I think, Marnie, this is not a NATO issue, but it is a Western and Eastern European issue. And the fact that they are there to support President Zelensky, I thought was a great thing. It shows unity. It shows unity in purpose. And not only that, it shows unity in deed. They're going to be there for Ukraine. And so while Ukraine is not a member of NATO, as you just mentioned, the Article 5 thing, in some instances, they might as well be. If American businesses are on the ground and they were attacked, et cetera, you might as well be attacking the United States.
Congressman, before I let you go, I want to talk about Hurricane Erin. It sounds like you guys in North Carolina are going to be hit with some pretty high surf, something you're used to. After the devastation of Hurricane Helene, what are the lessons learned in preparedness and also response to some of these major weather events?
Yeah, there's a Hatteras Island, there's Ocracoke Island, and the state said a mandatory evacuation a couple days ago. Sadly enough, we still have people that stay on those islands. And literally the first weekend I was sworn in the special election in 2019, Dorian had just come through, and I went out to Ocracoke Island. People were devastated. If there is a mandatory evacuation, get off the island. I can't underscore that enough. There's time to come back and pick up the pieces. Fortunately, this is not going to be a direct hit. There'll be some wind shear. There are going to be some high waves with erosion. Highway 12 will probably be impassable for quite a while. But it's just called being prepared. We have time to do this as compared to some of the folks in the Midwest with tornadoes. We have time to prepare. Please take it seriously.
Thank you. What an important message. There really is no protection for these barrier islands when Mother Nature shows her force. Congressman Murphy, appreciate your time this morning.
Great. Thank you.